Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste. We have a very interesting guest today for the Desi Buzz talk show. His name is Mr. Ikram Butt. He's got his honorary doctorate also for the kind of work he's doing. He's one of the very, pioneering work he's doing in the UK regarding sports. As we are all South Asians and Desis, our our families always want us to become a doctor, lawyer, scientist, or financial analyst or CPA. But here we have Mr. Ikram, who's been a rugby player, and not only he's played for England, but he's also established British Asian Rugby Association, so he can educate the South Asian community about the career, what was there in the rugby team, and what better not we talk with Mr. Ikram directly. Hello, Mr. Ikram, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Dr. Malik. Thank you for inviting me to take this opportunity for this platform and discuss quite an important topic which is to me and to many people that I know. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, Sister Kal, to all the listeners and viewers out there.
Okay. Before we start, can you just give a little background about yourself? Uh, who are you? So our listeners and viewers can know who are you by your own self.
Absolutely, happy to do that. Thank you very much. Well, as you mentioned, I'm a former professional rugby player. Uh, I created a little bit of history in 1995 when I became the first British Asian to represent England at either code of rugby. So you've got a code of rugby league, which is players made up of 13 players and a number of substitutes. Then you have another code of rugby, which is called rugby union over here in the
Hmm.
UK. And I played around the world too. And rugby union, you have 17 players as well as a number of substitutes. So up until now, I was the first person to represent England, and it hasn't been a repeat of that since 1995. There has been some players coming through, but not at that level. I got involved in sport at a very young age. I'm originally from Leeds, the city of Leeds.
Hmm.
For the viewers outside of England, it's the north of England.
Hmm.
Uh, and Leeds is quite a sporting city. They have a very good football team, rugby team, and cricket. The iconic Yorkshire County Cricket Stadium is just a stone throw away where I grew up, and they also have a rugby pitch there too. So it was very familiar as I was growing up. I was very fortunate. My father was very passionate about sports too. My parents originated from Pakistan, and when my father came to this country, he was an amateur boxer in the Air Force in Pakistan, and he continued that vein when he came over here. So he encouraged me and my siblings, three other brothers, two sisters, to take part in sporting activity, knowing fully well the benefits that derive from being active, physically active, and to continue his legacy. Now, sadly, my father passed away when I was only about 10, 11 years old to a heart attack, which was surprising because he was a big fella, very fit and looked after himself. But I suppose when it's written, your time is going to come. However, in that short period of time that he spent with us and we spent with him, it was enough for him to pass down his legacy, the social skills, the sporting skills that he taught us about being in a discipline of sport, about respect, the resilience, the sort of commitment, desire, determination. All the sort of ingredients that has stood by me to this day has been the success of my journey, and I'm still on that journey, along with the blessings of my late mother and my faith, which is really important to me.
Okay. So let's lead into a question, Dr. Ikram. As the first British Asian to represent England in rugby, you broke cultural and sports boundaries. What was the some key challenges you faced during this, and how did you overcome?
Well, it's a really good question. That is, I remember the day as it was yesterday. Very fond memories when I was representing my country of birth, and it was a very proud moment for myself, for my family, for my relatives, and my circle of friends. And there were many people who were supporting me throughout my journey up till then. And I think it was a proud moment for everybody who was involved, who wanted me to do well, for myself, but also for the community at large. Because at a time, and still very much now, South Asian representation in sports is very few and far between. And it was like breaking that glass ceiling. We certainly smashed the glass ceiling when it came to rugby because it demonstrated that South Asians are just as good, if not better, than their non-Asian counterparts, given the opportunity and the platform. And I was very grateful of getting that opportunity. When I played for England in 1995, it was a journey prior to that. So it wasn't a case of just a one-off. And I've been playing professional rugby. I signed as a 17-year-old, so I was still at school. I was in the sixth form at school, and when I got the opportunity to sign professional, I took it like a bull takes to the horn, and nothing was holding me back. So it
Uh,
was
can I ask you how did you like, England is known for cricket and football, or in America we call it soccer. How from there you moving into rugby? Like this is, you could have played cricket, you lived near the cricket stadium. How come
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Well, that's a very good question. In particular, as I mentioned, where I grew up on the doorstep of the iconic Yorkshire County Cricket Ground. Yorkshire County Cricket is one of the most famous clubs in the world, and most recently, not for the right reasons, but we'll come to that probably later on in the interview. Um, but it was my father. My father loved the physical sports. We played cricket at school. We played cricket in the streets. Back then, it was very multicultural, diverse, where we had mixed families with living together in peace and harmony, and it was a wonderful upbringing. It really was back then, and we played all sports, football. To my mother's dismay, our front room became a boxing ring nearly most weekends because my father was pushing us. Well, not pushing us; it was encouraging us to box because that's something what he enjoyed doing. And so rugby became second nature because um, again Leeds Rhinos now a very famous team. There was in the schools in the local community, so it's quite popular, and we like the physicality of the sport. So we got involved in that. My older brothers played, I followed suit, and it became a natural phenomenon for us. Now as a youngster in schools, I represented football at Leeds City Boys schools. In fact, my claim to fame was probably being football. My goal was, and my dream was to be a footballer. And I played in the same team as a chap called David Batty, who went on to play for England and many seasons in the professional league at the top level. So just demonstrated the level and standard of that. Unfortunately, football wasn't to be, um, and rugby became more natural for me to progress in that career. I wonder sometimes, had my father still been here, would I been encouraged to go into football? Because at the time I wanted to be a footballer. I didn't have anybody to support me or mentor me in that direction, and because rugby was much more natural for me, I followed that line. And I'm pleased I did because I've had many fond memories throughout my journey and continue to do so because even my ripe old age now, I'm still enjoying the benefits of being involved in a sport like rugby.
Here the question comes, Mr. Ikram. You've become a role model with the South Asian community and the Muslim community, encouraging people to participate in sports. Because I saw you're very active in the community through your post and on social media. How important do you think representation is, and what impact do you hope your journey has on young people, especially those facing social or cultural obstacles?
Yeah, that's another excellent question, and one of the reasons why I'm still involved in this space and this capacity. It is so important. I'm second generation living in this country, and we've experienced so much discrimination, prejudice. Uh, it's a two-way thing, and now current climate is very much uh, um, racial tones, underlying racial tones, and sport is one of those arts, in my opinion, can do so much to bring people together, build those divides, and ensure people are coming together in peace and community harmony. And sport has been great to me, and I want to give something back to help young people in particular because of my own experiences in that journey. And it hasn't been all smooth. There has been obstacles and barriers around race, prejudice, and discrimination, but that hasn't stopped me pursuing a career that I want to achieve. You know, there's ways of looking at it. A lot of people, young people in particular, will not follow that route because of that. And I'm saying to them, look, you know, there is a space for you. There is a role to play. We have to overcome those obstacles. Do not look for the easy way out because we're talking about sport. There's the same issues in other environments, whether it's media or academia. I'm speaking to people that are still suffering from those same obstacles and barriers, and collectively we can discuss our sort of journey to help others and mentor them and encourage them to go through that a lot smoothly that we did. And we also know the benefits of sports that you know, we talk about the resilience. Now, I'm fortunate that I continue
So,
in this journey.
so tell me, Mr. Ikram, how British Asian Rugby Association came into ideation, execution,
Yeah,
and how it's empowering,
yeah.
Asians community, and what's the success mantra you've got because it's become a phenomenon of people talking about your organization.
Thank you for that. You know, we're very proud of the British Asian Rugby Association. We really are. We're coming up to 20 years next year. Uh, we're looking forward to celebrating some of the achievements, recognizing a lot of the individuals, male and females, who come through the system. Now, this is a really important factor here. 20 years ago, and even before 20 years, people were saying in the media, in the sports in particular, uh, that Asians don't take part in a sport like rugby. And
Hmm.
obviously, I would argue on the contrary that we do, and we love sports and rugby too. So it was challenging that phenomenon that it was already an obstacle, a barrier before we even started playing or getting involved, and that certainly discouraged a lot of parents and young kids taking part. So we created in fact, we created the South Asia Bulls prior to the British Asian Rugby Association. The South Asia Bulls was a project that we got involved in, bringing all South Asia together that I knew who were playing, who had been playing, and bringing them back into an environment that was safe, that was friendly, that was welcoming, that was all embracing, and understood the cultural aspects of our community as well as the religious aspects of our community, and we respected that. And people coming back in, we were getting parents wanting to push their children through our developments. The British Asian Rugby Association is an involvement, an evolution of the South Asia Bulls, and this is a really important part now. The British Asian is was more a statement than we're all British Asian. Primarily, we focus on South Asians and British Asians in particular because there's a huge gap in that in sport, not just rugby, but in sport across the board. Um, but the organisation is inclusive and we welcome and embrace people from all communities. However, there is a primary focus on South Asians because there's a desperate need to promote that.
So, what's SCAR and your work with British Asian Trust about fostering inclusivity? So, can you explain about SCAR and British Asian Trust, what you're doing?
I can. I'll mention the British Asian Trust because only last Thursday we was at a reception in London celebrating, well, bringing family and friends together, supporters of the British Asian Trust. Now that's really interesting. I've been involved in that since the beginning when that was started, and the origins of the British Asian Trust was at the time His Royal Highness Prince Charles, who's now the King, got together a number of South Asian business people together. And said, look, we need to support the South Asian communities abroad primarily, and we want to get together, set up a charity, and focus on some of the key areas of work: social inclusion, mental health, violence against women and girls, which and obviously financial support towards women empowerment, so they can be independent and not relying on the state, the government, or anybody else. Being powerful women, which is something that I advocate since I got involved with the trust. And that's gone on to do many big things now. Now we're starting to do a lot of work within the UK as well, because it has a knock-on effect. And people are saying, well, we're doing some great work abroad. What about doing some of that same work in our local communities? And that's going to focus on going to schools, because you've got to go to schools. Young kids, I learned most of my education, most of my sports from the schools at such an early age, and it's important that we do that. So I'm very proud to be an ambassador, who now the King, and the Trust is one of his favourite charities, and he has helped us. The Royal Household has helped us to evolve into another phenomenon, because the Trust does so much work throughout South Asia. The Sport Campaign Against Racism, SCAR, another organisation which is close to my heart, because it tackles the root of issues around race, discrimination, prejudice, primarily in sports, but also what we say outside of these sports fields, so in the classrooms, in the boardrooms, and again, the issue of representation. We don't have enough people like me and you of same colour in roles, responsibilities, uh, and this is an area that we can challenge that in a positive way and get more people in positions of influence.
Now, I came to know about you because our team was researching about, some stories about South Asians in the UK, because Desi Buzz is the only global news channel for the South Asians from America to Australia. We not only look at Indian and Pakistanis, but also Nepalese, Sri Lankans, Afghanis, and these are the people we're looking at. And when I researched, we came to know about British Asian Awards. That time we approached you. So please tell our viewers, what is British Asian Awards? And it's a very monumental event, and it was very celebrated with grandeur. So what's the thought on that?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm still on a high from that award. It was not so long ago, but it took a lot of, as you well know, when you organise these events, particularly in the parliamentary household, you got to go through so much red tape, bureaucracy to get it on. And that was a milestone in the history of the British Asian Rugby Association, and I'm so important that we were given that opportunity and the platform to do something like that. Now, the we were looking at recognising so many people involved in the association, male and female in particular, from players, but people who are just supporters, people across the board, because we talk about representation on the pitch. Absolutely, there's not enough, far from it. But there's lots of South Asian girls, women, boys, men playing the sport and have been for a very long time. And we want to gear that and promote that as much as possible. We need strong, positive role models to raise aspirations and case studies. So when people say, "Oh," it becomes a common discussion to be had that South Asians do play rugby, a sport like rugby, and play it well. Uh, and and we've had examples of the Black Sports Awards, the Blacklist Football Sports Awards. That's been going on for a few years, and something that I fully support, because it recognises black athletes, and there's many, and they've been doing it so well. And also the South Asian Football Awards. I think this year it's been in its fifth year, so that has been growing and developing, and good luck to them. And then I saw last year I saw the Black Rugby Awards, and I thought, wow, that's great. It's something that I support. But then again, I thought to myself, why are the South Asians being neglected again, in my opinion? And why is nobody creating a platform for South Asians in rugby when the past 20 years we've been demonstrating the positiveness of individuals playing, officiating, coaching, and just generally helping out in the rugby sector. And I thought it was an opportunity to get in there and say, look, we want to host the British Asian Rugby Awards. We deserve it. The people involved certainly deserve it for sure. And I wrote to the Speaker of the House, thinking, I need to do something that is really going to create a big buzz, but also inspire a lot of the people that are involved with us and outside. So the Speaker of the House, I knew was a big rugby fan, so that helped. But I was very surprised when he said yes, and also allowed us to use the state residence, which is only used for state visits and world leaders. And I thought that surely is going to be a landmark occasion. It certainly was a historic occasion. The inaugural awards have never been done before. It's the first of its kind. And to have it in a state room with the speaker in leading the event, I think was truly remarkable. And we had a lot of high-profile dignitaries, politicians, lords and baronesses, and we had the representatives from both governing bodies, as well as some other dignitaries from the world of sport, media, and business.
Now, two quick questions. They're all interrelated, but these are quick questions. As an advocate of equality, how do you view the current progress of racial inclusivity in British sports? Are there challenges?
Very much so. I think the state of play demonstrates that. I mentioned early on about Yorkshire County Cricket, and I may come back to that. You know, last year or the last couple of years, there's been a huge racial uh, um, battle with Yorkshire County Cricket and the ECB, who control cricket across the UK and Ireland. And at one stage, the famous iconic county was brought to his knees through a race discrimination process, and that actually was called in by government, and that highlighted issues across the sport, not just cricket, about representations. That you know, it's two sides of the community, the Asian community and the non-Asian community. They are both responsible to tackle these underlying issues. However, I think it's fair to say that discrimination is more so on the non-Asian side than the Asian side. But collectively, we need to work together to address these issues because it has a massive impact on our young children, on their progress coming through systems of sports across the board.
Through your sporting achievements, you have become a very powerful advocate against male violence and support for refugees. What inspired you to focus on these causes, and what ways does sports experience influence your advocacy? Because you're a legend in your sports now, everyone knows you. So how did you, become a pioneer or a advocate for male supporting, violence against male violence and refugee?
Thank you for asking that question. It's something that I'm really passionate about and certainly a strong advocate. I got involved by default, really. I was just introduced to a gentleman, the founder of the White Ribbon campaign in the UK. White Ribbon is a male violence organisation made up of men speaking out against violence towards women and girls. I think it
Mm.
originated from Canada, I believe. It's a global phenomenon, doing some fantastic work. And as soon as I got introduced with it, I just thought this is an area that I want to be involved in. It's an area of concern. It affects all communities, but primarily when I got involved, they were asking me to help with the South Asian community, where the on a sort of violence, on a killing is prevalent far too much that we would like. But just in general, sports can play a large part in addressing those issues. So I started to lead on sport campaigns within the locality of Leeds, and then they went national. So the whole challenge of discussing masculinity within a male environment in a dressing room concept was quite powerful without being violent. But prior to that, I must say, I had to look at my own self first, my own behaviour and attitudes towards women and girls. And that certainly made me a better person because I had to be responsible when I'm talking to other people. And when you live like that and you ensure others, it becomes infectious. And the more we speak to men and young boys, because unfortunately we are the perpetrators, or when I say we, men are the perpetrators towards violence towards women and girls in particular. And the rate at the time when I was involved, it was like 2 women were murdered a week. It's horrendously gone up. It's at least 3 and 4. I say at least it's more than what it should be. So rather than coming down, it's going up. Even though we have campaigns and getting that message out, there's still so much to do. And I will continue to do what I can to address that issue where we have a world free of violence toward women and girls, where women can walk around freely, independent and powerful people as they are, without the issue of having to worry about a man being violent towards them. And it's not just the violence, you well, that there's the abuse comes in many forms, and we need to
Okay,
eradicate that as much as possible.
sure. Now, you're one of the South Asians from the UK where on your life there's an autobiography written, Price and Prejudice, and it has really inspired a lot of people. And how this book came about, and how what is the message this book is all about, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. We That was launched in 2011, actually. So it's quite some time ago, and there's a need for a second book that I'm told. And even when we did the first book, 12 chapters. I mean, when I was approached about it, I didn't think I had much to say. Even though obviously I thought to myself, there's lots of aspects that we need to get across. But then when we did 12 chapters. I'm thinking there's lots of chapters that we have not included, but you could only write so much in an autobiography. But no, I for me there's important messages in the book that I wanted people to read and learn from. It's more about education rather than myself. When I started playing as a junior, I was labelled Ikram Butt, a South Asian player. That was the terminology that people accustomed to me, and I was accustomed to that. After 7/7 and 9/11, the terminology changed to become but an Asian and a Muslim player. So that terminology sort of changed. So throughout the journey, phases changed, and I think that was actually a good thing, not a bad thing, because it opened a whole new type of conversation and discussion with people, and I was able to respond back in a
So,
positive way.
so can I suggest here, you said so many things I've left out from your autobiography. Why can't you make a movie like Bend It Like Beckham? Like, the South Asian girl playing the soccer, right? Football, as you say.
Yeah,
So maybe like,
um,
right?
yeah,
And
it's
we
a
can
it's a great.
say, butt it out, like, something like that,
That's fantastic. I
right?
love that. I love that. That's about it. Maybe you could be my agent manager. Maybe a handsome chap like you could actually play my role because you need somebody who's handsome
No,
and
no, no, you should,
great at media.
no,
So that'd be wonderful.
you should convert it into a movie because that story will transpire, like, because it's not cricket, it's not soccer, I mean, it's football, it's rugby, and no South Asian does that. And that would be a great thing, your journey about it. Now, you've also been featured in a magazine which is Did You Know, about celebrating Asian figures in British history. How did this come about, education and diversity and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm surprised you mentioned that because that came out such a long time ago, and that was launched at the House of Lords at the time. Well, what I recollect, it was a group of teachers, so academics basically, wanted to highlight 10 high-profile individuals. And at that time, I was probably in the height of my career playing rugby from across the board. So it wasn't just about academia, it was about sports, medicine, arts, music. And they must have done some research around that. And I was grateful to be asked to feature in that, and that was wonderful because it gives us a platform to raise exposure about somebody playing in sports, and that's another thing what I tried to do with the book as well. The whole point was I was saying things and writing papers, but it just got shelved or people forgot about it. So I thought the book would actually be there for life, so to speak, because it's on Kindle now, so people can still get hold of it while most of the books have been sold out. Um, Hence why I'm saying there's a need for another follow up for people to learn through that journey because we need to capture uh, positive case studies for people to learn from. That was the whole idea of being involved in Did You Know and writing the book.
So here, as a publisher of the newspaper Desi Buzz, I would invite you. Why don't you write series of articles about how diversity, especially South Asians, because South Asians are across the world now, and there is something common thread between all of us because we were one united country before the partition and everything. And when you go outside, it's just, so I would invite you. You can write series of articles on the Desi Buzz, and we will be happy. And I have a platform called Rise Back. Like when I'm traveling across America, education is too expensive in America, so I've created a platform called Rise Back. So post interview, maybe I can talk on that, how we can empower the kids at the school with technology because India is a superpower in technology. So maybe it's called Rise Back. It's a Native American saying like rise back like Phoenix. Now, finally
Yeah,
concluding, there are two
sounds great.
questions. We are at the, coming back conclusion. Rapid fire, 5 minutes. You have achieved everything, lifetime achievement award, honorary doctorate. Your journey has been inspiring. You have an autobiography. Not many South Asians have autobiographies. Not many people. What is that you want to take this legacy forward? And what is the message you want to give to the kids or the young people aspiring to do something in the community? So look, a very short answer on that. So we're concluding.
Yeah, I mean, the journey continues. I'm still ambitious. There's still a lot of work to be done. The reality is when I see more representation of people of color like myself and yourself are in roles, not just playing coaching, but influential roles, making decisions, not just making up the numbers. That's when probably be more satisfied with some of the work that we've done. That's for sure. For young people in particular, I would say, dream big, fulfill your ambitions. Do not let, throughout my journey, it's a case of you can't do this. It's not possible. People will not accept you of who you are and your background. Now, if I listened to all those, I would never ever reach anywhere near where I did. So I ignored those things. Yeah, naturally, you listen to people who hopefully will guide you along the way. However, persevere, be resilient, be determined, and do not let anybody deter you away from your dreams and ambitions. That's for sure.
So thank you, Mr. Ikram, for joining us at a weekend. You could have enjoyed this with your family, but thank you for joining us and doing this interview. And we don't want to limit here. We want to continue this work you're doing. We're going to
Wonderful.
do a Desi Changemakers Award next year in Dallas. So we invite you as an organization and an inspiring
Wonderful.
personality, and we work together on this. And thank you so much for this. So, readers and viewers of Desi Buzz, thank you for watching our video, and please share this video of Dr. Ikram Bhatt, how the inspiring story he is, and how can we inspire the next generation of South Asians from across to America to Australia. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Dr.
Ikram.
Malik. The pleasure has been all mine. Thank you.
Thank you.